these topics were completed, then I'll switch on to how to work the programs on Python, right? So generally, a Python is a general purpose programming language. It's a high level programming language. There is a difference between low level and a high level language program. A computer can understand a basic language, a binary language, that is zeros and ones. But you people doesn't know what are zeros and ones. So then what you have to do in this case, everyone must and should communicate with the computer with the help of a language, which is known as a high level language program. A high level language program is a program which is written in simple English. Like, hi, how are you? Right? A person can understand what you're talking. It's written in a simple English. That's called a high level language. A human can understand high level language. A computer can understand a low level language. In order to convert a high level language into a low level language, we need compilers or interpreters. That's the main concept where a Python lies. A Python is an interpreter. Now I would like to tell you the difference between an interpreter and a compiler. I'll go very slowly. If you have any doubts, after end of every session, you can able to raise your hand. These people are going to give you a chance to unmute yourself and you can ask the question, right? For time being, everyone must and should concentrate on what I'm explaining, right, my dear students? So a Python is a general purpose computer programming language where it is a high level language program. A high level language program is a program which is written in simple English. Because we are humans, we know English. A computer knows only binary language, that is zeros and ones. So in order to communicate between both of us, like myself and a computer, I need some language. So I'll talk in high level language. Computer will just convert it into low level language. And again, that low level language, I have to convert it to high level language. This process can be done only with the help of a middle fellow, a translator. For example, I went to China. I don't know how to speak in Chinese language. I know only English. But these Chinese people doesn't know English. They know only China. Then there will be a problem. How can you communicate with them? You can't communicate. Then there must be a translator. I'll put one person who knows both the languages. Like high level language he has to know and low level, Chinese language as well as English language. Both languages they can understand. I'll put a translator in between myself and the Chinese fellow. I'll talk in English. That fellow will be converted into China. That fellow replies in Chinese language, and this fellow, a translator, converts that into English, and he'll be explaining. Yes, this process can be done only with the help of a translator. There are two types of translators basically, compiler and assembler. Compiler is a translator which is used to convert a high level language into a low level language. Now tell me, what is a translator which acts to convert a high level language to a low level language in computer language? Exactly, compiler. Now, what I told you is, but Python is an interpreter. There is a difference between a compiler and an interpreter. A compiler is a translator which converts your whole program into low level language, whereas an interpreter is used to interpret line by line. That is called interpreter. Now tell me, which is more advantageous? Will compiler is advantage or an interpreter is an advantage? I'll tell you with a small example. You went to a hospital for a small scanning because you are getting stomach pain. There is a stone in a kidney. There is a small stone in a kidney. For example, you're getting you're getting stomachache. Now what you're going to do at that point is you go to a hospital and the doctor suggests you to take an X-ray. Now tell me, my dear students, will you take the X-ray for the whole body or will you take the X-ray only for kidneys? You can give the answer in the chat box. Will you take? Exactly. Very good. Very good. Very good. So wherever you have a problem, at that point only you are going to take the scan. The whole body doesn't require to take scan. So compiler is taking the whole body, taking the scanning of a whole body is called a compiler. Taking part by part, taking or scanning part by part is an interpreter. Now tell me which is more advantageous. Is compiler is advantageous or interpreter is advantageous? Very good, very good. Most of the students are giving the answer. Very good. So interpreter is much more better than a compiler because in a compiler, it scans the whole body. I don't want your whole body to scan. I want only your kidneys to be scanned. So interpreter scans line by line, whereas your compiler scans the whole program at once. That is the major difference between a compiler and an interpreter. So Python is a compiler or an interpreter. Now I would like to conclude, is Python is a compiler or interpreter? Exactly, it is an interpreter. Interpreting your program, whatever you are writing the program, it interprets line by line. Simply saying, wherever you have a mistake, it shows directly, yes, you have a mistake in that line. Don't go to the next line. That's what it tells. But a compiler tells, first you compile the program, first you run the program, then I'll tell where the errors you have. I'm repeating, my dear students. Interpreter doesn't allow you to go to the next line. Whereas a compiler, it compiles the whole source program at once. That is what the difference between a compiler and an interpreter, right? Yes. So the first line is it's a high-level language. It's a dynamic and interpreted programming language. That's what interpreter, interpreting line by line, right? The second point is dynamic. I told you about high-level language. I told you about interpreter, and the next is dynamic. Dynamic is nothing but the basics are very important, my dear student. That's why I'm stressing more on basics. Once comes to program, I'll just go fast. Don't worry. Basics plays a major role in Python. Yes, it is a dynamic. Everyone knows that the difference between a static and a dynamic. Static is nothing but a constant. Dynamic is nothing but changing every time. Changing the values every time is called dynamic. Right? Static is constant. Dynamic is changing. Now tell me, I'll just tell you an example. You are going to book a ticket. You are going to book a ticket for a movie ticket, right? In a Book My Show. Yes. Is my voice is audible? Yeah. Fine. Yes. So I'm going very slowly, my dear students. If you have any problem, just type in the chat box. Our team will tell me, right? Then we can continue. Anyways, yes, my dear students. The thing is, it's a dynamic. If you want to book a ticket in an online Book My Show, is it a static or a dynamic? I'll tell you. There are 100 seats available while booking your tickets. You want to book 3 tickets. You have booked and you are logged out and you came out. One of your friend again wants to book 3 tickets for the same show, for the same theater. He'll be opening Book My Show. Again, he'll be opening a Book My Show and he'll see the number of tickets availability. Will it shows 100 or will it shows 97 for him? Tell me. Will it shows 100 or will it shows 97? Yes, it has to show 97. If it shows 100, then that website is static or dynamic. If it shows 100, then that is static. If it shows 97, that is called dynamic. Dynamic means changing upon. every time it gets changed, right? That's called dynamic. Static means remains constant, right? Now tell me, is your daily routine is static or dynamic? It is dynamic because one day you wake up, you'll brush your teeth, and then you'll be having your breakfast. Another day, if you don't have a mood to take a brush, you'll eat the breakfast, or you directly take the lunch, or whatever you want. So it is dynamic. That's what the difference. Static means fixed, constant. You can't change that. Whereas a dynamic is, it is, you can change dynamically. All the websites what you are using now, like Gmail, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever you are seeing in the real world, websites, everything is dynamic in nature. I'll give you one more example. That's what I'm speaking. I'll speak very high. I'll give you the content, very huge content. I'll show you PPT very less, and I'll talk more on the things. Suppose you are using a Facebook. You have your email ID and a password. After 10 days, you forgot your password. Is there any option to rechange your password? To change your password? Yes. Now tell me, is the Facebook is dynamic in nature or static in nature? Exactly. It is dynamic in nature. It is dynamic. Yes, it will be changing every time. Gmail, Facebook, IRCTC, Book My Show, whatever website, KL University, whatever website you can take, everything is dynamic in nature. It is not static. So this is the basic concept of Python. So Python is it's a general purpose. You can use for any applications. It's a general purpose dynamic programming language, which is a high level in nature, and interpreter programming language. So I told you three important points: high level language, interpreter. What do you mean by interpreter, and what do you mean by dynamic? Can I continue, my dear students, with my next point? Can I continue? Yes. If you have any doubts, you just let me know in the chat box, so that one of my partners is going to reply me, or they'll speak. Right? I'm continuing with my next point. Second very important point. Yes, I told you everything is an object oriented, dynamic. Everything is dynamic. Dynamic is nothing but, someone is asking Ajay or something. Dynamic is nothing but changing. Every day, everything will be changing. One day, the climate, if you see the climate, the sun will be 45 degrees in Vijayawada. On the other day, it will be only 20 degrees in temperature. On the other day, it will be 35. On the other day, it will be 10. On the other day, it will be 22. Now tell me, is the sun is dynamic or static? Ajay? Yeah, because you have asked me dynamic. Yes, it is dynamic. Yes, it is dynamic. Very good. Very good. It is dynamic in nature. So that's what the dynamic. Second one, generally a Python supports object-oriented programming. Whatever website you take, everything is dynamic. It is going to be developed with the help of an object-oriented programming approach only. The websites what you are seeing now, everything is developed dynamically with the help of a very important concept called object-oriented programming. That is, object-oriented programming is a part which you are going to study tomorrow. OOPS. It is called OOPS. Right? Object-oriented programming, which you are going to study in the tomorrow's session. Right? But please try to remember, whatever website, whatever you are writing the program, everything must be in a dynamic nature only. In order to implement the program in dynamic manner, you have to use only object-oriented programming only. OOPS. You have to use object-oriented program. Remember, right? Yeah, the next point is, it's very simple to learn, and it is very easy to understand. Python programming is very easy to learn and easy to understand. Very easy to understand. My fourth point, Python. Yeah, Jashwant, don't worry. If you don't have an idea about OOPS also, we are going to help you in writing the programs in object-oriented also. Don't worry. After this 2 days workshop, you will be feeling that, yes, right from tomorrow, I don't want C programming, I don't want Java, I don't want to go for C++. I want only Python. I want to learn only Python. I'll sleep with Python. I'll drink Python. Everything Python, Python, Python. After these 2 days workshop, you'll feel that, and I'm sure that everyone will get interest. Everyone will get interest in writing the programs in Python rather than C or C++ or Java. I'll challenge the whole world. I'll challenge the people that I'll make you to understand writing programs in Python. Right? Anyways, fine. Python is very easy to understand. It's a powerful language. It's a powerful language, right? Where you can develop number of programs, number of various programs with the help of Python, right? Fifth point, Python, the syntax is very easy and it is dynamic in nature. That's what I told you. Dynamic typing. Everything we can change whenever. Yeah, is my voice is breaking or is it fine? My dear student coordinators, please help me.
Yes, sir. It's fine, sir.
Yeah, because someone is telling that your voice is breaking like that. Anyways, if anyone is reporting a problem, just let me know. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Fine. Yeah, Python, the syntax is very easy, Amma. It's very easy to write and it is dynamic in nature and it is interpreter. Interpreter. That's what I told you. It checks line by line. If you write hi, if that is correct, if the syntax is correct, then only it goes to the next line. Otherwise, it stops over there. It won't go to the next line. That is what a dynamic typing, which is interpreter in nature, right? I'll just continue with my next point. Python supports multiple programming patterns, like including object-oriented, functional, procedural, etc., etc. So Python is a mixed breed. It's a mixed breed. C programming is a structured programming language. I'll tell you. C programming is a structured programming language where you are going to follow a particular structure. If you write the program in a particular structure, then only your program gets executed. Otherwise, it kicks you. It kicks you. Arey Babu, your line number so and so, you have written wrong. You please do that and then you compile me. That's what it tells you. If you won't open main program, main curly braces open, like that you're going to write a program. That is called structured programming. Whereas an object programming is nothing but you're going to write the program in a class. You have to write class followed by class name, curly braces open, etc., etc., etc. But Python is not like that, my dear students. I'll show you. I'll show you the magic of Python today. Then everyone will be writing the programs only in Python. They won't touch any other language. I'll make a challenge. Anyways, I'm going to continue. So it's a mixed breed. Python is a combination of both structural programming as well as an object-oriented program. Both are mixed in Python. Now tell me, if you want to write only in structure programming, you'll prefer which language? Please give a reply in the chat box. C language. If you want to go for only object-oriented programming, you choose what? You choose what? Oops, that is Java. That is Java. You're going to work on Java. Sir, I want to go for both procedural language as well as my object-oriented language. Then which language you are going to use? Exactly, my dear students. I'll go with Python. I'll go with Python. That's it. That's it. Yes. My next point is Python is intended to work on special areas such as web programming. That's what I told you. Python is used for multi-purpose development of web application, gaming, whatnot. Everything in this present scenario is Python, right? So with the help of this Python, we can able to easily develop the various applications, various apps, right? So these are the basic 5 to 6 points, the basic concept of Python. Right? Once we understood the basics, then I'll move to my next slide. You can see the Python version. Initially, yes, some of the student is asking, yes, my dear students, Without knowing the basic languages like C or Java, the Python is completely different, my dear students. If you don't have an idea of those two languages also, if you understand what I'm explaining today, it is enough. It is enough. You can write the programs in Python. I'll challenge. You can write the program by your own self. Right, my dear students? Yes. So generally the Python versions. Initially in 1994, right, Rossum is a scientist who has introduced Van Gudo Rossum, right? The Rossum. He is the scientist who invented this Python. In January 1994, the latest basic version of Python has been introduced. Initially, the version is 1.0 and a few refinements refined. Now, tell me, my dear student, when you are a month baby, now you are 20 years or 18 years old, are you developing in each and every aspect, or you're still you're thinking that you are in 3 months baby? Yes, you're developing. Every day you are developing with a new concept, with a new physical or whatever brain maturity level, everything you are developing. In the same way, there is some problem in Python 1.0 version. They need some updation. They need some updation. That's why they went for Python 1.5. Still, they are not satisfied. They need some more updating. Next version is 1.6, next 2.0, and the latest version as on June 27, 2018 is 3.7. Now we are working on 3.9. There are more versions, but 3.9 is enough to work to solve our problem. These are the versions: 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, so on, 3.1, 3.2, 3.4, 3.5, 3.6, 3.7, 3.8, 3.9 is also available now, right? I'll show you each and everything. These are my Python versions. If you type in a Google like Python 3.9 version download, you can download it, right? Anyways, applications of Python. Where you are going to apply this Python? We can apply Python in web applications. We can develop desktop applications, software development. We can develop a software, scientific and numeric calculations, business applications. Yeah, the syntax will be different. Before 3.0 version, the syntax is different. After 3.0, the syntax will be different. Since we are going to use the latest version 3.9, everyone please follow what I'm explaining. How I'll write the code exactly, you also just type it right afterwards. Not now, I'll tell you. So these are the basic applications of Python, right? Like you can develop web applications, desktop applications, software, scientific and numeric calculations, business applications, like banking system. Everything banking system completely is working on this Python as a front end. Audio, video, CAD applications, CAM applications, everything with the help of Python, right? These are my basic applications. Now I'm going to start. I'll